Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending public meeting number 2 in the virtual mode for the Pine Grove Mills Mobility Study. This brief recording is going to orient you to how you can go about seeing all of the same materials on our website that are being also presented in person at the Township Building. Today, it's going to be myself and kind of introducing you to things and showing what's going on, as well as Rob Watts from McCormick Taylor, who's the project manager for the study. He's going to get into a little more of the detail about some of the exhibits, about the mobility study itself, and about how you go about making comments on the materials that have been provided so far to date. So as the whole mobility study has been completed, there's been a number of people that were assembled as part of a working group. And what you see on the screen now is all those different people, various people from township staff, myself, the public works director, planner, et cetera, folks from the planning commission and the small area plan advisory committee. And we also brought in some outside agencies, Center Region Planning, PennDOT, CATA, and of course our consultant, McCormick Taylor. And so the working group has really been there to kind of help steer and guide McCormick Taylor as they've been working through the approved scope of work that was authorized by the Board of Supervisors. So this group has had multiple meetings throughout the process from beginning, and will be involved even after this public meeting is over as well. The Pine Grove Mills mobility study really got its start out of the small area plan that was performed by Center Region Planning Agency and the Ferguson Township staff as kind of a partnership project. Unlike a previous mobility study that we did in the Northland area, a lot of the background planning efforts were already completed for this, and there was already some ideas and some concepts, some themes, as you'll see them called there, for things that would be beneficial to the Pine Grove Mills area with respect to mobility. So this is kind of taking all the work that was done for the small area plan, looking at that section that we just talked about mobility, and say, okay, let's take this now and let's refine that. Let's look at what was talked about, look at it in a little more detail, and see what of these make sense, what are some concepts, and what are things that may be feasible at different levels that we could consider for the Board of Supervisors to consider projects that could be advanced within the Pine Grove Mills area to help with mobility. So a lot of that work really, and it's important that we recognize that. So that saved a lot of effort on our end with this project and really builds off of all that work that was done as part of the small area plan. So now I'm going to turn it over to Rob, and Rob is going to kind of talk through the mobility study process, what they've done so far to date, and where we're heading.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Watts. I'm the project manager with McCormick Taylor for the mobility study. Just to introduce you a little bit to what a mobility study is and how we frame it out. We have these three premise, process, and purpose to the mobility study. Begins with the idea that transportation systems evolve over time, and there are different competing goals and different community goals that evolve. We go through a process to review and evaluate what's going on in a study area like Pine Grove Mills and look for ways to improve the system, create more efficiency, address conflicts, and give an opportunity for new priorities and new opportunities. And then the purpose, of course, is to make a better system, enrich it, make the travel more enjoyable in the case of recreational activities, or more efficient for getting from place to place within Pine Grove Mills and beyond into Ferguson Township. To this date, in April of 2022, when we have our final public meeting, public input and participation in this process has been extremely important and is one of the highlights of these mobility studies. Our first public meeting, some of you may have attended in October of 2021. And since then, we've had a number of working group meetings, field studies, things that we've done to study traffic, count pedestrians, review the street space, parking, all kinds of different things. Tonight's meeting is, again, your opportunity to look at the things that we've been working on and creating, and we do need your input. Without the community's input, it's awfully hard to know what we can do and how you like what we're coming up with. We'll review what comes out of this public meeting, and then craft the final documentation for the study and present it to the Board of Supervisors for approval. From there, the information and the projects, cost estimates, different things that come out of the study can be used by the township staff in the capital planning and going after grants and other different activities to put these things together. Some of the solutions and concept illustrations you'll see will be graphical. Some are recommendations and are more policy driven, more descriptive. But hopefully you recognize the study area and are able to see what sort of changes we are suggesting here. And you'll be able to look at them, give your opinion. There are traditional, there's some innovative things. Some things are very, hey, we can do them tomorrow. Other things are more aspirational, and they're going to take some other things to fall in place before they can actually happen. But we're looking out well into the future to try to see what's coming down the road in the next 10, maybe even 20 years. So tonight, how can you view and comment on these different concepts and the materials that we have developed? This, of course, the opportunity to participate visually or virtually is going on right now in concert with an in-person meeting at the Township Building. But all of the virtual meeting materials are hosted on the Township's website. Under the Department Works tab, you can find the Pine Grove Mills Mobility Study. The page should look much like it does here, except you will see a virtual public meeting button that you'll click on, and you will go to the public meeting launch page. The launch page will look something like this, with 6 different sections or 6 different areas identified by the letters A through F on the graphic, and you can click on any of those letters and you'll go to a section that gives you more details about that particular issue. You can look at all of them, or you can just go to one or two or a couple that interest you the most. And on each page, including the launch page, you'll see a link to a survey. Click on the survey and it will open, and you'll have the opportunity to provide feedback on all of the concepts. It's one survey that covers all of these concepts. And in the concept pages, this is letter A under the Water Street, Pine Grove Road, Nixon Road intersection. You'll see a series of comments. Some of the concepts have options where you'll have multiple ideas for the same location. Some have 1 or 2 just basic recommendations in there. This describes what the concept looks like from the air, an aerial image. We have a cross section here that shows what the street would look like width-wise, and you'll see descriptions, benefits, and challenges for most of the concepts laid out. So you can see the kinds of things that we were seeing were good about some of these concepts. Some ways they might not work as well, or we would have design challenges as we tried to implement them. The survey itself is linked on all of the concept pages and also on the launch page. Click on that and you will find a multi-question comment form with different sections with letters that line up with the letters on the launch page. Section A, of course, is the Pine Grove Road, Water Street, Nixon intersection, B, C, and so on to F down through. It is intended to be a short comment form for you to fill out, but there are open-ended places where you can provide longer answers in addition to shorter, click the box type of questions. The public feedback that we are accepting through the web page is going to be available from April 18th through May 2nd. Please do visit the site, visit it once or multiple times. We ask that you try to complete one survey and not do many multiples, but all of the results will be received and looked at by our team. The next steps include the final stages of the project. This is our final public meeting, and then we will have a report and review and prioritization of our recommendations and concepts. And then we'll present to the Board of Supervisors and finish out the documentation by June so that the township's capital planning process can proceed and they can use results from this study. Ron, I'll send it back to you for the thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rob. So that's just basically it. We wanted to try and keep this short and sweet. We do thank you for taking your time to watch a couple of engineers stumble through a brief presentation. No paid spokespersons here, but at least you didn't have to sit through a commercial either. So please, if you would, take some time, look around the launch page, check out the different exhibits that have been prepared, and fill out the survey. Your input really is important. On this page are the contact information there for myself and Rob. And as you're looking through things over the next week or two even, if you have questions about anything, please feel free to email either one of us. We'd be happy to try to help you out as you work through the process. So again, thank you very much, and look forward to hearing your input. Take care.